Demi. It's me, Demi, and this is Simply Me. Today I have a story time for you. Now, in the last video, I told you about how we love to go on really long walks. And something really bizarre happened on our last walk that I really wanted to tell you guys about. That sounded weird. I wanted to tell you about it. So the other day, we're on our walk. Everything's business as usual. We're walking around the lake, enjoying our day, and on our way back home, we stumbled upon a baby, like a real life baby in a diaper in the middle of the street. What? That's weird, right? Like, that's super weird. At first, we didn't think too much about it because usually there are a lot of kids who play on our street, but I realized that I didn't recognize this particular baby. Like, she was really little, maybe like a year and a half, 2 years old maybe. And she's in a little diaper and she was riding a red scooter down someone's driveway. So we decided to maybe hang around and see if we saw her going towards anyone, go back in her house, but nothing. So then I asked her, I said, hey, like, who are you with? And obviously she didn't really speak. The only words I understood her saying was like mama, but everything else, anything I said to her, she went, hmm? So that's when we decided maybe we should start knocking on some doors and see if anybody basically claims her, I guess, for lack of a better word. So we knocked on the first house, and this is the house that we normally see all the neighborhood kids playing at. They all pretty much like congregate there. So we knock there, and this lady opens the door. And I say, hey, there's a baby outside. Like, is your baby missing? And she told me that she was the kid's aunt who lived in that house, and she was actually babysitting. So she ran outside because I scared her. She thought maybe one of her nieces got out, and she didn't recognize the little girl. So she went back inside and she called one of the older kids that normally play outside too. And then that girl came outside and said, no, I've never seen this baby. So now we're all sitting in the middle of the street thinking, where the heck did this baby come from? So we just decided to keep the same tactic and knock on a different door. So we went to the house next door and we knocked there, but no one opened there. So then I moved to the next house and I knocked on that door, and there was a little chihuahua that just kept like screaming at me, and I was like, okay, never mind. So I left. And I'm just thinking, where could this baby have possibly come from? Like, where did she come from? So I look across the street where the baby was riding down on the scooter, and there's a car parked in there with a car seat in it. So I'm like, maybe she came from this house and we just never seen this baby. So I decided to knock on that door. And when I knock, at first, no one comes to the door. And I'm just thinking to myself, what am I gonna do with this baby, you know? And I knock again and I knock again because I can hear people talking in there. And finally, this little boy opens the door. He's like 5 maybe. And can we just pause right there and talk about the fact that a little 5-year-old just opened the door to a complete stranger that he did not know? Weird. I didn't open the door for strangers when I was 5. I don't know. So I said to him, I said, hey, this little baby is in the street. Do you know her? And he started acting really weird. Like, he was going, but he wouldn't say anything to me. So I was like, well, do you know this little baby? And then he proceeds to start whispering her name to her. For the sake of this video, we're gonna call her, I don't know, let's call her Jenny. So he was like, Jenny, get back here. Jenny! And I was like, dude, she's not listening to you. Like, she was getting further and further away the more that he called her. So then I started to get worried, like maybe she doesn't live here. But he was like, Jenny. And meanwhile, the whole time in the background, I can hear a man saying, close the door. Like, what are you doing? Close the door. And I'm like, hey kid, the baby's not listening to you. There's obviously an adult in the house. Maybe you should tell the adult to come get the baby, because the baby is now headed towards like the center of the street. And he just didn't want to call anyone. which worried me. But at this point, I'm like, I'm over it. The door's open. I'm just gonna yell into the house. So I yell into the house and I'm like, hello, excuse me, like I found your baby in the middle of the street. And the guy's still like, close the door. And I'm like, I found your baby. Mind you, this is happening in both English and Spanish because I heard the little boy speak Spanish. So I'm like, I gotta figure this out somehow, right? And then finally, the man listens to me and comes running out the door, runs to the baby, picks her up, and runs back in the house. At this point, I'm like, is this baby getting kidnapped? Should I call the cops? What should I do? At the end of it, like, I just decided maybe not to call the cops because, like I said, there was a car there, it was parked there was a car seat, there were other, like, baby toys just, like, laying on the driveway. So I figured maybe she does live there and we just haven't, they're just kids we haven't seen because we haven't been living in this neighborhood that long, so it's possible. But it was, like, super bizarre. Like, random baby in the street, little boy opens the door, doesn't talk to me, is super strange. Like, what are these people doing in their house where their babies are getting out? That's weird. That is really weird. So I just want to know, what would you do in that situation? If you were on a walk and you ran into a random little baby in the middle of the street, would you call the cops or would you try to find the baby's parents? Well, that's the question I want you to answer today. Well, that was it. I haven't seen the baby since, so if I see her again, I'll make sure to update you guys. But thanks for watching. Make sure you comment your answer down below. Like this video if you liked it, subscribe if you haven't, and join my Ohana. Bye!